Hey, can I share something with you? I know many people are being pressed in the spirit. They're being troubled and they don't understand what's going on. Many people are feeling a churning inside, a sense of hopelessness on one hand, but a fire that burns much like a desperate hope on the other. Let me say this, if you belong to Jesus, you have an endless destiny in you. It has no beginning and it has no end. There's no limitations. It's the first and the last. It's the beginning and the end. That's what Yeshua has put in you. There is a stirring in the spirit that many try to shake off because of the idea of what you are feeling goes beyond what you have been taught. It breaks the boundaries of today's understanding of who God is. God is calling his people to a higher place. Now, I would never tell anyone not to worship in a local congregation or to change churches unless I were to perceive a dangerous teaching there. Each person must find their own way, but I will always encourage the strengthening of the bonds of true spiritual fellowship and the local church. Nevertheless, we must be aware of what is going on in the spirit, not just the bad and the ugly. Our concentration and energy should always be on God's answer to the bad and the ugly. You see, religion puts you in a box, and although the Spirit of God may exist in that box, there is much more of God outside of that box. In order to answer the call of the Spirit of God in this time that we are in, one must be able to see beyond the box of traditional limitations, or we will fall into the trap of the urban definition of insanity. You know, doing that same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Our God is a supernatural God, and he has revealed himself to us in that way. Scripture does not replace him, it leads us to him. He proves himself to us by his actions, but our traditions will try to hold him into that natural, explainable way. While there must be order and guidelines to our thinking, it is time to allow God to take us beyond the natural and beyond the religious limitation that we have settled for. Regardless of how big you see God, he is bigger than that. He is always bigger, and he calls us today, not from a place of understanding, though we hear him with our understanding. He is calling those who will hear and follow him into a place much different than where we are today. I'm not speaking of heaven here. We are called to a place of holiness, power, and revelation that is to be expressed to the whole world. It is a place of shining and exemplifying the very presence of the Yeshua HaMashiach in the earth. We are all invited to this place, but not all will walk in it. This is a place for overcomers, those whose passions for Yeshua is unstoppable. If your love or passion stops at the church walls, or because of the words of an unbelieving preacher, or perhaps you're just waiting for heaven, you will not walk in this place, nor experience this high calling of Christ to his church. If the love for the elements of this world, its philosophy and deception has such a hold that you believe you have God's best and there is no more until heaven, except the Spirit of God break through to you somehow, you will not walk in this place. Now, I cannot say which individual will or will not enter into this glorious last day work of a bright display of Christ to the world, but I know by the Spirit and by the Word it is coming, and it is given to me to share. If you have come this far with me, you are probably one to whom the Spirit of God is speaking. It is a good sign that the Spirit of God is stirring your heart for something you have never tasted. But what do we do from here? Well, let me say this. Get in the Word. Take time every day, not only to pray, but simply worship the Almighty because He is worthy. Love Him with all your heart. Seek Him, not for experience's sake, but to know Him. Experience will come. Allow the Spirit of God to loosen your grip of your present day understanding, not to cast it away, but to enlarge it and to readjust that which needs readjusting. When you see something in the Spirit, ask for explanation and confirmation by His Word. Allow the Spirit of God to show you the absurd. Let Him take you where you've never been. And that I say, get in the Word, it's worth saying again. Finally, ask your loving Father to purify you and to take you where He desires without putting limitations on Him. Seek fellowship with true believers who see beyond the brick and the mortar. But be discerning. There is a serpent in every garden. You will see as you prevail. Chains will fall off and the eyes of your understanding will begin to open. And the hope of glory will break forth from within. Your reward will be measured out based on your effort, and you will receive all your heart's desires.